So this Judicial Watch lawsuit is against the archives, but we're battling directly Joe Biden personally and Barack Obama personally through this litigation. We're talking about the IRS scandal and the Biden corruption scandal, but we're not, just going to rely on whistleblowers coming forward or Congress exposing what happened to try to get to the bottom of this, because we think the more people asking questions and demanding accountability, the better. We welcome the whistleblowers. We defend whistleblowers. As I said, we were defending Marcus Allen, the FBI employee who was testifying before Congress last week about the abuses he saw and abuses he suffered at the FBI because he was daring to speak out and speak up as his job duties required about their crazed approach to the January 6th disturbance. That's great. So we represent the whistleblowers. Congress is doing more than it has previously in many ways to uncover some of this government corruption. We talked about earlier how James Comer highlighted the family corruption of Joe Biden by exposing these monies coming in from foreign sources to be laundered through secretive LLCs that he was only able to uncover thanks to persistent investigations and subpoenas to banks. That's great. So Judicial Watch is also the independent watchdog, because Congress isn't perfect, I don't need to tell you. And we often do more than Congress to uncover government corruption. And in this case, we're pursuing leads that Congress has talked about to figure out what's going on for real by suing separately and apart from Congress. Congress rarely sues to uncover these corruption documents specifically related to Biden. And in this case, we sued the National Archives for records from back in the day when Joe was vice president for family business records tied to Joe Biden. And we began the process in February of this year, and the archives told us they've got records, but they don't want to give them to us. And I'll tell you the circumstances. We filed the Freedom of Information Act against the archives for Biden family records and communications regarding travel and finance transactions, as well as communications between the Bidens and several known business associates. So we saw what Congress was pursuing. We said, well, we need to ask those similar questions. The lawsuit was filed after the National Archives have yet to produce any records in response to our request in February this year for records or communications from former Vice President Joe Biden regarding, and I'm going to read this because the list is well worth listening to, and you can go ahead and use your search engines and internet to find out more about some of these names. You'll be interested to know what they're up to and what they've been implicated in. Any communications with Robert Hunter Biden, the infamous Hunter, James Brian Biden, which is Joe's brother, his other brother Francis William Frank Biden, or Sarah Jones Biden. I think Sarah Biden is married to James, so it's a sister-in-law. Between January 20th, 2009 and January 20th, 2017 regarding any international or domestic travel, any international or domestic financial activity, including but not limited to banking and financial institutions, overseas bank accounts, credit card companies, bills, invoices, fees, arrangements, financial arrangements, payments, wire transfers, contracts, QuickBooks, financial spreadsheets, business proposals, office or residential leases, rent payments, real estate transactions. Any communications with the Biden family members I noted regarding the following individuals or companies: Devin Archer, Jiki Bao, Tony Bobulinski, who was one of the whistleblowers, Jeffrey Cooper, Catherine Dodge, Gangwen Dong, James Gillier, Patrick Ho Chi Ping, Vuk Jeremy, V-U-K, Vuk, I think it's his name, Zhang Jingjun, Yi Jingming, Jonathan Lee. I think I've been, thanks to the coming war with China and Joe Biden's corruption, many of us become able to pronounce Chinese names we otherwise would never have been able to pronounce before. You see them enough and you hear them enough, you can figure out how to pronounce them. Jonathan Lee, Joan Mayer, or Jonathan Pugh, P-E-U-G-H, Francis Person, Vadim Pojarsky, Eric Sherwin, Robert Walker, Mervyn Yan, Nita Madhav, Mai Giteri, Any Medaba. Oh, wait, I was reading this as a person's name. It's actually a company's name. The infamous Metabiota, Rosemont Seneca, Hudson West, Owasco, another company, Bohai Harvest, what is this other one? Skaneatles, Skaneatles. How would you? Yeah, Scantanelis, Edoro Global. It's a problem when I'm doing this all live to tape here, or live, I can't go back and repronounce it so it's correct. Cold Harbor Capital, Lion Hall Group, any Chinese entity or company, the Chinese Energy Company, CEFC, and of course, last but not least, what name didn't you hear yet? Burisma. Any communication between Joe Biden and the individual or entities set forth in items 2A, any records, so 2A through EE, those are all the names, any records, including paper or electronic calendars regarding former Vice President Joe Biden and any individuals set forth in the list above. So we want the communications and records about the Biden family efforts, or I would say syndicate. Judicial Watch explained to the court, now they do have records, so the archives is the keeper of former president and vice presidential records. The archives acknowledged receiving the FOIA request, assigned it a case number, and claimed it had identified approximately 1,567 emails, 2,501 electronic files, and 445 pages of potentially responsive records that must be processed in order to respond to your request. The archives also stated that it is required to notify representatives of the former president and the incumbent president and the former vice president prior to the release of any vice presidential records. The letter did not say when or even whether any such notice had been given or would be given. On information and belief, which is language we use when we are confident something hasn't happened or it did happen, no such notice has been given. So just to be clear, we asked for the records from the archives, and under the regulations, when there are records concerning a president or a vice president in the archives here, the affected president and or vice president and the current president all have a say or a vote. I wouldn't say a vote. I guess the way the law is currently interpreted, the current president has the ultimate say, as Trump has found out, to release these records. So who gets a vote or say here? President Biden, Vice President Biden, so he gets notice because he was former vice president, and as president he gets final say, and Barack Obama. So here, in terms of stopping us from getting the documents, we are facing potential objections, in addition from the archives slow walking the information, from Obama and Joe Biden. So this Judicial Watch lawsuit is against the archives, but we're battling directly Joe Biden personally and Barack Obama personally through this litigation. Now, obviously, they're not personally being sued by us, or maybe it's not obvious, but you can see they have a personal role in helping decide whether the records are going to be released to us. And we know there are records, and they haven't been released to us, and the time has passed to release them to us under law, so they're already outside the law in terms of releasing these records to Judicial Watch. And these are records that get to the heart of Biden family corruption. And this gets to the heart of what Joe knew and when he knew it about his family's, what I would call RICO activities. And to reiterate, on May 10th, House Committee on Oversight and Accountability Chairman James Comer released financial records of the Biden family's business dealings, showing that millions of dollars flowed from China and other foreign sources through a labyrinth of Biden family companies. The financial records reveal the Biden family and associates' complicated network of companies set up during Joe Biden's vice presidency and the millions the Bidens received from foreign sources. The financial records also reveal how the Bidens used complicated transactions to hide payments from foreign nationals, including CCP-linked associates, and provide clear indications of influence peddling schemes during Vice President Biden's tenure. So, the National Archives is stonewalling the release of these thousands of records that, as I highlight from Comer's statement, go to the heart of this Biden corruption story. And I think it's interesting that it's Judicial Watch suing for it. I'm not aware of anyone else suing for it. Maybe some other folks have asked for these records. But why we now know there's a group of records the archives is hiding, pretending that they are stalled in releasing the records because they got to consult with Obama and Joe, and we haven't heard hide or hair from the archives that that's been done, and now we have a federal lawsuit to make sure it's done in a timely way so the American people have information about what Joe Biden was up to with his family racketeering operation, and I think I'm fairly characterizing it, while he was Vice President of the United States. So an important new lawsuit for this corruption that is hampering, I would think, our nation, both abroad and here at home, because Joe Biden's been compromised. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.